Artificial intelligence could destroy your child's future, or it could be the greatest tool they've ever been given to become like superheroes, give them real like superpowers that you and I as parents can't comprehend right now. It's come to my attention that most parents and even educators, teachers don't have a clue what AI really is. They may have played around with ChatGPT a little bit and made outlines and lesson plan ideas, but past that, they really have no idea what's under the hood and what real power AI has and how it's going to totally change education. Everything we've been comfortable with in technology and so far is being flipped upside down. So I wanted to make a quick video to help you as parents and teachers and whoever else watches this and finds use out of it, how to use AI with your kids, how to totally transform their learning experience through modern tools that are mostly free, and also protect against the dangers of AI. There's a lot of danger in AI because it's so powerful. But if all you know about AI right now is just what you see on social media of evil robots taking over the world, or Taylor Swift's lawsuit that's going on over AI generated images, then you're really in the dark. You need to know that AI is here to stay, and it's changing everything faster than you know. Now, I'm coming at this from an engineer's perspective. Engineers are trained to utilize the latest technologies and breakthroughs to solve problems while mitigating risks. So that's kind of how I'm approaching AI for our school. We started a school, Acton Academy Rexburg, here, and I'm trying to grapple with how are we going to use AI to prepare our learners for the future, to equip them to become lifelong learners and to really make a difference in the world. And I wanted also to know how to protect my kids from the dangers of AI. So let's dive into some of the dangers and some of the benefits and how to use the tools that are out there for your own kids. Let me cover real quick what I think the biggest danger is surrounding AI, and that's actually to be afraid of it and instill a fear of it into your children. It is just like the days of when teachers were saying you aren't always going to have a calculator in your pocket. AI is going to be in their pocket and it's going to be everywhere. And so if you teach them to be scared of it, they will not be able to develop the skills they need to utilize it and protect themselves from the harmful sides of it. So have a curious, optimistic, and cautious view of AI is my first advice. I was shocked to hear that New York City public schools had banned AI in all their classrooms. And I asked on my local Facebook group here in Idaho how AI was being used in schools, and I was amazed to hear that many classrooms are banning AI completely. And many parents were expressing that they think it's just evil and they want nothing to do with it. I think that has to do with the news of like Taylor Swift's lawsuit and things like that. There are some horrible things that can happen with AI and enables some really awful stuff. But if there aren't people who are curious and using it for good, then it'll be dominated by those who want to abuse it. So we need to get as many people excited and exploring it, and especially young people learning how to use it to solve real world problems and better the world. So that's the first thing I wanted to cover real quick. But let's go into what it is.
So what makes AI AI, artificial intelligence? It's not being explicitly programmed. It's being trained. It's learning. You're feeding it tons of data, millions and millions of data points, and it's recognizing patterns and forming, almost like the human brain, neural connections to begin to express or output responses. That's what generative AI is. So that could be in images, music, sound, photos, and now videos. So for instance, Tesla Autopilot. The programmers originally programmed the Tesla exactly how to drive an autopilot, but there's only so much they could do with code. And so now they have the data from millions of drivers they're gathering data from all those drivers and how they handle different situations, and they're able to use AI to generate how to react based on what it's learned from all of these drivers. So now it's getting better than humans often because of how much data it has and its processing power. So now it can react in a human-like way and learn to handle situations based on the data it's receiving and how human drivers react to it. So that's one example of how an AI model can be generated and how it's being used in the real world. All right, buckle up. This is going to get really good. So I'm going to talk about 3 different AI tools that are free right now that you can use kind of the differences and train you a little bit on how to use them. If you were given an amazing tool, so maybe like AI compares to calculators so well. If you are given a graphing calculator and you have no idea how to do that kind of math or how to operate the calculator to do those kinds of functions for you, it's no good to you. So try and train you a little bit on what you can actually do with these AI tools. So we're going to go over 3, then we're going to go over some of the dangers, and it'll blow your mind. And you need to know about these so that you can have your eyes open and be aware of what your children will encounter as they go out in a world full of AI. And then I'm saving for last the tool that we're going to use in our school that really encompasses all the benefits of AI and protects against all the dangers of AI. We'll cover that last because I want to I want to really show you that tool because it's going to be awesome. So here we go. All right, so you need to understand that there are several different AI companies, and they're changing all the time, and what they're offering is changing all the time, especially if they're free resources. They have different reasons for providing things for free. AI is actually really computationally intensive and expensive. So they put a lot into generating these models, and then to actually run these models where you can actually get outputs, it takes computational power. So most of them have free versions that they're actually using to train their model because it can be trained by exposing it to data, but it can also be trained by getting feedback on its outputs. So that's one of the ways that they're perfecting their model, and that's why they're changing so fast. You can ask a question, and the next week ask the same question and get a totally different response. And I've seen that with data that I've asked AI about technical things. It was really bad at the beginning when ChatGPT first came out, and then a month later it got much better with its answers. So they're changing very quickly. But these companies create models, so they train it on this data, and that data can be a bunch of text. It can be scanning the web for text. A lot of people think that AI, that ChatGPT especially, is just they just scan the web and summarize what they find to answer your question, and that is not how they work. That is to some degree kind of how they're trained, depending on the model. But you can actually have a model that's trained on a specific kind of text, such as biblical texts. You can have a religious model that is trained on the Bible and trained on religious texts and answers as if it was the Bible, which is kind of cool. That's kind of fun application. You can have a model that's trained on images, and we'll show you that one of those that's free. And so it's trained on tons and tons of images, and it can generate images. You can have a model that's trained on music, and it can generate music. We'll show you one of those. That's really mind-blowing too. It's fun. And then vocal accents, voices. It can be trained on a political figure. It can be shown all the data of a political figure speaking, just hours and hours and hours of audio, and it can be trained on that voice to mimic that voice. So that's where we get kind of into some of the dangers of trying to figure out what's real and what's not real. But so OpenAI is a company. They have several models. ChatGPT 3.5, I think, is their free one right now. ChatGPT 4 is their paid one that you pay monthly subscription to get access to. I think $20 a month or something. I don't know what it is right now. The costs are coming down. And ChatGPT was the first. ChatGPT is the conversational AI that OpenAI let out to the public. So that's most people's first interaction with AI was ChatGPT. It's a conversational AI. It's trained on text, and it can respond to you kind of as a human talks. So that's fun. It's not image. It's not other data, but it's very interesting, and most people are shocked when they first start using it. So OpenAI being the first ones to the scene, to getting their stuff out there in the public, have some really cool products. We're going to look at their ChatGPT, but first I just want you to see how cool their Sora is that's coming out. By the time you see this video, it might already be out and available, but it's text to video. So you create a prompt. Prompt is what you generate, what you give the model, and then the model can use that prompt to crank through and output a product. Most of them are text to photo, text to text, but you can also have photo inputs as the prompt. You can give it a photo and have it generate similar photos or a photo or changes to that photo But with this one, the text to video is really cool. So if you, let me show you a little bit real quick before we move on. This is Sora coming out. So the prompt engineering, I want to talk about some more, but you have to create the prompt to tell it what to create. So the prompts are listed here below the videos. You should go check out. This is openai.com/Sora. Create 60-second videos that look impressive. How are you going to know what's real anymore on your social media? I don't know. I mean, these look pretty fantastic. I like, let's see. Oh, this one's fun. The prompt for this, photorealistic close-up of two pirate ships battling each other as they sail inside a cup of coffee. Like, how else can you create that kind of video? Your social media video feed is going to just be blown up when this comes out. It's hard to tell that they're not real people, real things. So all their examples, this is supposed to be a historical footage of California during the gold rush. So where I grew up, right where the gold rush was, and that looks like the photos of those hills, the background of the logged hills, and the style looks like the photos I saw of Coloma growing up. So really interesting stuff that they can produce. So that's pretty fascinating. This is how you know this is going to take over the world real quick. See how interesting it is. This one is reflections in the window of a train traveling through the Tokyo suburbs. Look how well it generates those reflections. All right, back to how to use this stuff. So OpenAI is making this Sora. Hopefully it comes out pretty soon. But OpenAI also has ChatGPT 3.5 for free. So you can get on there. You probably have prompt engineering is where you craft a prompt to get a response. Now, traditional school system for 150 plus years came out of the Industrial Revolution, where we needed nice, obedient factory workers. Look up how the current school system was created. You'll see that it doesn't like change and it doesn't adapt very well to change. And this is no different for how it's disrupting schools and causing trouble, because the teachers who have a set of standards that they have to teach to and have students accomplish, these standards are becoming outdated as some of the traditional work isn't what's valued in the world and what's needed in the world. For example, the calculator in your pocket. You don't have to be that proficient in extreme long division and doing all these advanced math by hand, because you never will. There's value in understanding how it works, but the time spent should not be on the stuff that's not valuable anymore. So the ChatGPT came out, and all of a sudden students could type into ChatGPT and say, they could literally just like upload their rubric. I need a 5-paragraph essay on Lewis and Clark expedition, and they could ask for it and it would output. Now, teachers are using AI checkers. This is what's really funny to me, that they're using these these tools that scan for AI in students' work. They are totally bogus, almost completely bogus. They've had lots of experiments where they have students write an essay completely without AI, run it through these checkers which use AI. Basically, it's AI. It looks at the AI at the work, and it says, what's the chances that this was generated by a artificial intelligence text generator, and it gives you a percentage possibility that it was, and they've been wrong all the time. They normally, so the test that they had, I forget the percentages, but of the 12 essays they wrote, they said over 30% or something of them were written by AI, and they weren't. So they're totally guessing. There is no way to check if it was written by AI. A teacher can guess, this does not sound like your work. But for the most part, there's really no way to check for sure if it was written by AI, because it generates a new response every time. It runs through a model that's guessing each word and phrase, or it's trying to pick words and phrases based on your prompt, based on what it knows and what it's seen, and it generates it different every time. So old plagiarism checkers, where they scan the web for the exact text that you just copied and pasted, those worked because it was exact, and they could scan and literally get it for sure if you plagiarized. But these AI checkers don't really work. So first of all, it's really hard to police actually having used this. And then second of all, if it can generate a good essay that is interesting, why not let them use it and teach them what's more important, which is how to craft an actually good essay or a story. You have to tell ChatGPT what you actually need, who the audience is, what the point of view is, what the opposing views should be, what the thesis statement should be. You as the student need to create that, and as the writer can create that. And if a professor can ask all of these models that I'm going to show you, they have a, for this one, it's up in the corner by my picture, they have a share button where you can share the prompt. They can share your conversation. The AI remembers its conversation as you talk with it, so you can respond to it. It can give you an answer, and you can say, I don't like that, change this. You can upload your essay and say, critique me on such and such. So you can add a paragraph of your essay and say, how can I write this to be more personal or more from the viewpoint of this side? I want to know about Lewis and Clark's journey from Sacagawea's point of view, or from the President of the United States point of view. What was he trying to get out of the trip? So you can start putting these views against each other, and it's called prompt engineering. And there's a lot of information out there, but it takes skill and practice, and it can create a result that's far better than the student having to spend hours and hours and hours just trying to write old-fashioned the essay, which will never be done in the workforce when they leave school. They will never do that because they have AI to generate this. Now, some of the issues with AI is it's a lot of the peer-reviewed stuff is behind paywalls, and so there's been lawsuits and stuff over that, whether AI is allowed to read through that stuff that's behind paywalls that libraries have. So it can't always output information from the most accurate places. You might need a different kind of AI that has been fed that model, that information, to get that information back. They also hallucinate. They make stuff up. AI they all have warnings saying it can generate false information. So it'll make up references, it'll make up stories and facts and whatnot, and so you have to be careful of that. And so a student has to be able to go through and have an output. It can, I'll cover more in the last tool. Let me not get ahead of myself of how cool AI can be for writing essays and stuff. But anyway, any student that thinks, or any teacher that thinks that a student won't have AI in the future and that the AI is stopping them from critical thinking is false. That just means the assignments are not tailored in a way to actually ask the student to produce real critical thought in what they're generating. If the student can just plug in one simple prompt and complete the assignment, then that's wrong. But I think professors and teachers should start asking for the prompt, the conversation that they had with AI to generate that work, and show how they fact-checked the information, how they added references, and how they tailored it and worked with it to generate a good quality product at the end. They should be able to spend 2 hours crafting a good essay where it's doing the grunt work of writing, just like a calculator can do with math. Just because a calculator can crank out answers to problems doesn't mean the calculator knows what to do with that information. Someone who understands math and understands what you're actually asking it to do to solve the problem, they can do a lot more, a lot faster as the calculator does the grunt work. So this ChatGPT can do a lot of the grunt work. Let's play with it real quick. So ChatGPT 3.5 is not my favorite conversational AI, but it's really good and it's out there for free. So as you're doing your prompt engineering, you need to be mindful that these mainstream ones that are public that you can use, they have layers of protection put over the top. And companies can take this AI model and add their own layers of references and protection according to what they're doing. But this general one, it has protections against inappropriate content, political content sometimes, and some current event stuff that it will block from trying to output the response. And it also can be a little biased based on the data it's been given. It could be biased on topics. So it's always good when you're doing your prompt engineering for to do some tricks, such as what I put in the prompt here: give me an essay with at least 2 opposing views and a neutral view about the use of hydroelectric dams. I didn't say how long the essay had to be. I didn't say, and the thesis statement is, or who the audience is. I could say, like, I'm an elementary school student, and it could craft it a little simpler, but I just gave it this general one, and we can see how quickly it can start outputting in real time here, any minute. So it gives a title to the essay, an introduction, opposing view 1, opposing view 2, and it cranks it out pretty quick. So that's a good place to start. You could also say, give me some references or give me some ideas or an outline, and you can be pretty creative in that way on the prompts. You could say, well, let's get into some of those examples in the next one. But go ahead and go play around. I wonder if it did end up being balancing environmental and energy needs on the neutral view. I wonder which side it's biased towards. Anyway, so it's kind of fun to see what it can output. And remember that it can have a conversation with you. It can remember what you're talking about throughout the conversation. So I can have it critique itself. I can say, make your conclusion more personal, add some references, and I can have it critique and change and modify. So as I read through a paragraph or one of the opposing views, I can say, add this point to the opposing views, and maybe an idea that you have that it forgot. And so that's where teachers, if they get this conversation shared with them, they could see actually some fascinating ways that a student can actually learn to craft the output of what they produce and create some really good content. All right, let's look at the next tool. Okay, so the free, real quick before we go to our other conversational AI, we're going to look at a free image generator that's really fun for your students to use or children to use. And it's pretty well protected and safe. It's Bing. Bing has a built-in image generator. I think they bought DALL-E, which is AI image generator, and they put a lot of protections on it. If you try to ask for anything slightly inappropriate or controversial, it will just say, I can't do it. So it's pretty safe to use, and it's pretty impressive and fun, and really gets artistic ideas going. You can use it for your projects and stuff. So I don't know if schools are blocking the use of this or what, but it's fun. You get a certain amount of free credit, and then I think they want you to start paying for using the computational power. But it's being trained too. It's gotten a lot better over the last few months because it generates 4 images from your prompt, a text prompt to an image. It generates 4 images, and it knows which one you download and like. So it's getting feedback from its users on what it likes from different kinds of prompts. And you can get really creative with these prompts and really specific and see what it can do. Sometimes the more general, the better. You can say for styles, you can get fantasy style, or Norman Rockwell is one of the painters that I like, and I asked for some paintings of something specific in a Norman Rockwell style, and they were. It was really fun. I know the artist world doesn't like that it can copy their styles. I think there's some lawsuit stuff going on with that too. But anyway, you can really get a child's mind going. So here is a prompt, a futuristic elementary school classroom. I click create. Let's see how long it takes to get its 4 photos here. That was going. So go try this. This is on Bing. I think there's other ways to get to DALL-E image generator, but through Bing it's free. So here is our futuristic elementary school classroom. I think I like that none of them are rows of desks. They're all collaborative desks. That's kind of goes along with our Acton model. But the robots hanging from the ceiling and stuff is kind of crazy. Anyway, so those are some fun images there. So you can do that. The reason I want to show that before I went to our next one is because our next one has a combination. They have an image generator and a text generator in the same model, which is Gemini. So let's look at that. Here we go, Gemini. For adults, this is my favorite. Gemini is through Google. It used to be called Bard. They just changed it to Gemini. And the free version that's out there, there's a lot to it, and a lot of really interesting stuff. So philosophically, what makes AI kind of cool is if you can have personal AI where it's trained on you. It can be kind of scary, privacy issues, or if the data is in the wrong hands, but you do actions all day. You send emails, you get texts, you get phone calls, you have all kinds of data that you yourself could generate based on where you go and what you do. And Google collects a lot of that data. And so Gemini being built into Google is being added to Google phones and stuff. And so it actually is more tailored to you in its AI. And it also has better prompt options. You can prompt with a photo. I took a photo of a stack of books at a thrift store, and I said, find me one on education, and it scanned all the titles, and it recommended it wasn't that great of a response, but it kind of recommended some about that it thought were about education. So it can be used in that kind of way, but it also is tied into YouTube. So, and it's trained on YouTube, so it can give you links to YouTube videos. It can give you links to the web because it's tied into the Google browser. So I think it's a little more useful in that way, being able to upload images and similar things. And then it's also tied into your Gmail. So you can give it access to your Gmail. And if you've been using Gmail for 20 years, some people, it can actually find information and process your questions based on your history or your text conversations and help you with that. So I asked it, I worked on a patent a few years ago. I was granted a patent, and I asked it to explain to me the steps that I went through to obtain a patent, and it based on my emails that I had with this person, the patent lawyer. So I had it went into my email and it scanned all my emails that I had back and forth with the patent lawyer, and it was able to output to me the steps I went through, the dates they happened, and this was 6 to 8 years ago. And so that was really interesting. So this is kind of can be a more personal AI. Plus, I think the responses are just better from what I could tell, but they have a layer of protection and they have a very clear bias. Google is being a little progressive right now, and that adds their responses. They are promoting diversity, minority type of stuff, and climate stuff shows up. So you just need to be aware of that. That may be good, may be bad, may annoy you. It bothered me once when I was trying to ask for questions about influential STEM heroes, and all it wanted to give me was specific minority or women heroes, and I asked it, I called it out, and I said, I want, regardless of race or gender, I want just most influential heroes, because I was just giving me these like offshoots here. They're great heroes, but I didn't care about specifically what they wanted to promote or who they wanted to promote. I just wanted to see in general some influential STEM heroes regardless. So I had to tell it that, and it said, I'm sorry, and it gave a more clear list without that filter. So being aware of that, that's what they're doing right now. But let's just play with it. Give me examples of some ways I can help my elementary school student get into coding. Okay. And you can have it read the responses back to you, I think. I don't see where the audio, oh, here it is. So it'll read to you.
Fun ways to spark your elementary school students' interest in coding. 1. Start with playful coding platforms. Explore block-based coding platforms like Scratch.
So I pause it there. It gives some really good examples, coding apps and Scratch, and it gives links. That's what's so good with this compared to ChatGPT. It gives real links to good content, and I use this all the time for school. But then you can go on and say more detailed stuff. So my child has tried Scratch coding and he likes it, but I don't know how to push him to prepare him for more advanced coding. What can he do in Scratch coding that will actually prepare for future coding projects? And it gives some specific examples of what they can try and do in Scratch coding and what the next steps might be. You don't have to use this with just education ideas. Here's a good one that I think a lot of people might find valuable. Can you create a meal plan for the week along with the shopping list for a family of 5? There it goes. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's still going. I'll have to look at how this list turns out. Okay, shopping list, and it goes through all of the products that we need. And then it said zucchini and some stuff, so I could have a conversation with it and say, my family is gluten intolerant and we don't like dairy. Can you change the list to adapt for that? Absolutely, it says, and it goes through a bunch of stuff. And it's still going. So a whole new shopping list based on that need. So that's cool. Now let's look at its image capabilities. It can't make infographics yet, by the way. So if you try to have text in an image, it struggles with that. But you can have it describe an infographic, and it'll give you ideas. If you need a school project infographic, it'll tell you kind of some ideas and information to put on that infographic. But let's try a image. Create a Boy Scout style merit badge that I can give to my child that has accomplished the skill of soldering. Oh, it's explaining the soldering merit badge, what to do to earn the merit badge. So that's not quite what I wanted. Let's say generate an image of a Boy Scout style merit badge that I can award for this work. Let's see what it comes up with. Learning how to create images. So I can't help with that yet. That's strange because I've had to do images before. Let me see if I can have it just generate an image of a dog. Generate an image of a dog playing in the snow. It'd be fascinating if they took that away. I can't create images yet, so I'm not able to help with that. Well, see, that's how fast they're changing. They got rid of images. They had images here a few weeks ago, and now they can't. So that's too bad, because they had some good image capabilities. But maybe that's only in their paid version now. So anyway, but there's oh, watch this. Let's try one. So a lot of you may not be into coding or whatnot, but most school systems now have programming projects, and we do it at our school. So one of my dreaded projects in my engineering school was to create a Sudoku puzzle solver. Not that hard of a problem, but just watch what it does here. Can you write the Python code for a program that solves a Sudoku puzzle? And here it goes. All right, Python code for solving a Sudoku puzzle. Came out pretty good. That was fast, and it kind of explains it, and it gives a source for finding that. Can you walk me through line by line how this code works? I sent send before it captured the last word. That line by line explanation of the Python code, and it goes through blah, 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 blah. It's cool. So that's helpful for to help unlock your child's learning. Now watch this. Can you change that program into C++? So now it's going to rewrite the program in a different programming language. And it's going to give me post-traumatic stress. Yeah, so impressive. It's pretty good with code. Computers like code, and it's trained on a lot of code. I know a lot of programmers say it's not perfect, just as it isn't in its normal English conversation, but it's still pretty good. So it's a place to start and gives you good ideas, and it can explain it really well, what it's doing, and give you principles of what it's actually doing in the code. So, and it can do that for writing essays, and you can tell it to be Socratic, to talk to you as if in a Socratic way to guide you. But let's get on to the dangers of AI real quick. This is going to be really mind-blowing for a lot of you. And then let's get into the final tool that I think is the best that we're using, that fixes most of the dangers and is the best education tool for teachers and students. Now get ready for some crazy stuff. not all of these AI models have the protections built in to keep them from being misused, which is good in some cases. It allows us these open source models that anyone can go and download. You normally need a pretty intensive gaming style PC with some processing power to run these models, but there's models for free that have no protections that you can ask it to generate whatever you want. And they use it for research, and people are using it for a lot of good uses, but there's also people using them for bad uses. But here's an example of how it's going to be pretty soon. One of the biggest dangers is not knowing what's real anymore. An AI model can be trained on a politician's voice or a historical figure, and you can begin creating very believable clips of audio and video and images that people won't know if they're fake or not. And so training your learners, your students, to begin to be skeptical of things that spread quickly on social media, especially today, if you see a politician that you don't like having a shady phone call with someone, you may not know if it was AI generated or not. And this is already spreading around. I've seen videos of Elon Musk saying ridiculous things and they're AI generated. And the laws around all this are forming still. It's kind of the wild, wild west. But here's an example of someone trained an AI model on Johnny Cash, all of his songs, and they're having Johnny Cash sing Taylor Swift songs and all kinds of songs. And they're kind of fun, to be honest. It's fun to see, but just here's an example. You can YouTube this yourself. But
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere.
So that sounds like Johnny Cash. I saw a lot of comments on the one that they did of Johnny Cash singing a Taylor Swift song, of people saying they like it better than the original. So that's really interesting. But also, so not just audio, but also images. These models are really easy to generate whatever kind of image of whoever you want. You can upload an image to start with, so you can get inappropriate things off the internet and then say, now put other people's faces in this video and this image. That's what's going on with Taylor Swift right now. And it's really easy to do. So one of these models, I was seeing if it would allow me to do faces of people that were public figures. So I asked it to generate an image of Taylor Swift as an elementary school teacher, just to see if it would allow it. And it took 5 minutes to come up with this image. It's not like perfect, but it looks like Taylor Swift in elementary school. So that's really, really easy to generate. It takes just a second, and it has no blocks. So you could ask for literally whatever you want. And so these models are harder to these models are harder to get to and operate. You have to be normally computer science minded. But if your student is going into computer science or techie style majors, they'll probably be developing with AI. And they need to know how to use these tools. They're also going to be exposed to the temptation to misuse it in ways that can be really dangerous and addictive to people, or generate content that is destructive to people or harmful to people. So it's really easy to do. And so just being aware that you see an image of someone, it may not be a real image. And Photoshop could do this kind of stuff before. AI just makes it scalable much faster. You can have a photo of an event with tons of people in the crowd, and AI can go through and change the faces of everyone in the crowd. And you could have political figures at lunch in public somewhere, and you can have it generate to put another public figure there at that location to make it look like they were there, and look very realistic. So that's a big danger. It's for music, politics, history. It can create historical photos and things to kind of be used in a propagandistic way to shape what you think and push agendas. So they need to be aware of that. Along these same lines, there is so much inappropriate material in the form of pornography on the internet. And what's happening too is people are taking advantage of this to create income sources through generating pornography. And what's scary is that it's tailored based on conversationally what you ask it to give you. So there's an example is there's an app on the app stores that is an AI girlfriend, and what it is, it's based on a real Instagram and I think OnlyFans maybe, I don't know, but Instagram model who has enough images of herself that the computer science guys trained an AI model on her, and they were able to now create this interactive virtual girlfriend that's used by thousands of users, where she has conversation, she flirts, and sends pictures and stuff back and forth, and that can be really harmful, obviously, for society in general. That we're creating, online virtual AI girlfriends, and that is happening in the porn industry. It could really be probably one of the biggest morally dangers that AI poses. So, but what's interesting is that the best thing to fight that is AI. AI can take the rough edges off of the internet and recognize things better than internet filters could. Because it's trained on these images. It can be trained on all this, and it can filter and protect and eliminate some of those problems too. A couple other dangers. So Elon Musk is one of the biggest, most outspoken people on AI, and he is afraid that AI was being trained on kind of anti-human data, a lot of the environmental data and stuff, and that's his claim on why he bought Twitter, was he wanted to try and help it be not so anti-human and reflect more of what reality of what the humans are sharing, and then train AIs on X or Twitter. And Sal Khan, the creator of Khan Academy, who is influential in the next tool I'm going to show you, he is really computer science savvy, and really he can see a lot of the real benefits of AI in education, but he also is scared of how much it scales the ability of totalitarian style governments to now take all this massive amounts of data that they can gather anyway, but now they can process it so quickly and in an effective way that it becomes a privacy concern and a real tool for enforcing totalitarian style government reign. So it can be really scary in that. But I think that kind of covers some of the dangers. I just wanted to see how easy it was to make a photo of your favorite movie star or public figure. You could have, Trump and Biden at lunch together having a good time. It doesn't filter. You can ask for whatever, and the better your prompts are, the more realistic it is, especially if you have an image as the input in the prompt. It can create very, very realistic things. So, and video, audio, and images, it's all out there. So there's that. There's the addictive side of it. There's also the concern of being that teachers have of eliminating critical thinking, which Google search kind of did this anyway. People can find whatever they want on the internet. So, but the fact that it can now output real work and make a student's workload easier, they are not learning to really write or do other things. So it needs to be used in a way that enables the student to learn the fastest. And it's what I like about this next tool is it can be a tutor there for the student whenever they need a tutor. It can be a world-class tutor, and it can reach some of the most poorest and the least privileged people in the world, can receive world-class tutoring and help, and really have their curiosity satisfied and grow through this kind of tool. So I think we've kind of covered what I see as the biggest dangers. You need to be aware yourself to help teach your children that things out there aren't always real. Be mindful of that and help protect them against being exposed into addictive things and doing harmful things with AI. Now, the interesting thing is I'm going to make another video later about screen time and devices in education and how to develop the best habits. I have a lot of thoughts on that, and it's one of the biggest concerns the parents at our school have. So go ahead and keep an eye out for that. I want to talk about it in this video, but we're getting way too long here, so we'll talk about it again in another video. But let's do our final tool, which is Khanmigo. Thank you for sticking around. The wait was worth it. This tool is fantastic. So if you don't know what Khan Academy is, Khan Academy, started by Sal Khan, is a school curriculum for ages 2, on Khan Academy Kids, ages 2 all the way up through the core curriculum of college, up to like associate's level college, all for free on Khan Academy. And it's put in an interactive way, tests you, it's adaptive for your learning, and it's fantastic. Sal Khan does most of the videos himself, thousands and thousands of hours of video, with interactive lessons that you can go through and receive a world-class education for free anywhere. So that's Khan Academy. Now, Sal Khan caught on to what AI could be for providing world-class education to anyone, anywhere, and he has gone all in on AI. And so before ChatGPT was released to the public, they reached out to him, and he has been working with them to adapt ChatGPT for Khan Academy. So let me tell you what makes this so unique and special. First of all, it's not free. Khan Academy is a free resource, but their AI side is in development and it's expensive for them to do. So it's $4 a month for parents to add it to their account. I'll make a video on how to actually do that another time if you actually want this tool. But parents can add it to their account and then add this tool to up to 3 children Khan Academy accounts. And then you might want to do that. I'll show you why and what I think is so cool about it. So it's ChatGPT 4 with layers and layers of additional tuning built on top. So first of all, it's embedded in Khan Academy and it's trained on Khan Academy. So for education, it has all of the Khan Academy videos and lessons and problems and resources built in to it. So that helps eliminate a lot of the hallucinations that they have and how they're inaccurate so often that ChatGPT does by default. Now it has Khan Academy to pull from directly to answer questions and to tailor responses. It also knows where the person who's interacting with it, if it's a child or a parent of a child, it knows where those people are on the lessons and where they're struggling, and it knows the data on how you're performing on Khan Academy if you're using Khan Academy. So that's really cool. So it's trained on that, and it can summarize for you as a parent and as a teacher. It can summarize how a student is doing in different subjects, and you can actually, I think they're trying to develop where teachers can actually make assignments through Khanmigo, where this Khanmigo friend will come and ask the child to start doing assignments and walk them through it. And they have a lot of built-in tailored tools. And it's funny because it's trained on Khan Academy, and so a lot of the responses I've noticed, they sound like Sal Khan's style of talking, which is really funny, but they don't have his voice. They have 3 voices you can choose from, and you can have conversation with it. But I wish they would add like a Sal Khan voice. That'd be really fun. But my daughter, who's 6, has been using this, and she started out with, I'll show you some of the activities they have, pre-built activities that you can go through, but she started out just doing the activity, which was get to know your interests, and my daughter said, I like rainbows, and Khanmigo replied back, just to, that's awesome, and started explaining, rainbows are made from light waves, and it went on the light spectrum, and they had a 45-minute conversation about spectrum of light, light waves, and photons, and all this other stuff. But it was just really fascinating to watch her going back and forth, just talking back and forth with Khanmigo. And it recommends videos and resources in Khan Academy lessons and gives links for her to go and watch more about it. So that's really cool. They also have a layer built in where they're telling Khanmigo to be Socratic, and that's why we really like it for our school. In Acton Academies, the adults in the room never answer questions. The students have to learn to find their own answers and to be responsible for their own education. And so Socratic discussions are a foundation of Acton Academy. And this tool is Socratic in the way it helps walk them through writing an essay or solving a math problem. It does not give them the answer. It guides them and asks them questions and prompts them and gives them the resources they need to learn. So that's really cool. So let's look at some of the activities and what it does. So this is just the welcome screen for it. So once you get the monthly subscription, $4 a month right now, then it adds it to your Khan Academy account. And in there, we have all these pre-built activities over on the left side. You can have it refresh your knowledge. A lot of it's built for teachers too. It helps teachers build lesson plans and work with their class. So that's kind of cool. But it also has built-in ChatGPT 4, which, by the way, I think was $20 a month to get access to that. And now they are sharing ChatGPT 4 with a education layer and Khan Academy focus layer built into it. You as a parent can now get ChatGPT 4 access for $4 a month through here. So that's really pretty cool. So you can use that to help you. And I used it here. Let's just do it real quick. Let me show you one example before we look at the other activities it has. So here we go. Ready? My son really loves monster trucks and needs to practice algebra. Can you give me a good algebra activity that he can do that's focused on monster trucks?
Sure, let's create a fun algebra problem involving monster trucks. Problem: a monster truck rally has 3 types of trucks: Bigfoot, Gravitiger, and Max D. If Bigfoot trucks are twice as many as Gravitiger trucks, and Max D trucks are 3 less than Gravitiger trucks, and there are 18 trucks in total, how many of each type of truck are there? Let's denote. B equals Bigfoot trucks.
So there you go. So that's an example, and then I could ask it, where's the Khan Academy lesson where he can learn how to do this problem? And he could go in and watch that if he's struggling. But now I can focus real math curriculum on their interests, which is really cool. And that's just with the ChatGPT 4. So then over in these, on the sidebar, we have Tutor Me in math, science, humanities, help me focus. I'm not really sure what that one is. I'll have to do that. Help you focus by removing distractors in the environment around you. So I'll have to try that one. That'll be fun. Help me prepare for national exam. Right. It has craft a story. It'll walk them through crafting a story. It'll help them brainstorm for essays. It'll help them check for problems in their essays. If I click on this one, you can paste the essay here and then have a conversation about the essay. And they'll critique and work with you. It has debate for elementary school, middle school, high school topics. Chat with a literary character. This is really cool. You can now have them have a conversation with a literary character or a historical figure. They have a lot of pre-built ones that are tailored. Abigail Adams, Amelia Earhart. My daughter chatted with Amelia Earhart and asked her questions. Nikola Tesla, Winston Churchill, so they can have conversations. What a good way to get to know Napoleon Bonaparte rather than traditional school textbook. You are now talking with them. So, and they have all the facts of the person and they can answer in the voice of that person, which is really pretty fun. The word architect activities are fun. My daughter was doing those. They basically make a game out of finding prefixes and suffixes and stuff. Then extras, ignite my curiosity, coach my academic career and growth. So it becomes a personal life or career coach, education coach, tutor, and it's there when they need it. A professional tutor isn't always there when you actually need help with the problem. So as they're going through their Khan Academy math exercises and practices, it's there for them. So I feel like I should show you more examples. Our video is getting really long. Maybe I'll make another video where we just run through Khanmigo. But it's just I've been really excited about it. It took me, too long in this video to get to this fun part. I'm grateful for those of you who stuck around. Please share this video with parents and teachers and whoever else you think might like to get this good background on how to use AI in education and with your kids. And thank you so much.